20 missions. 20 times Jimmy Stewart climbed into B-24 Liberator bomber. 20 times he flew into Nazi Germany. 20 times he faced flak and fighters and death. 20 times men sitting next to him did not come home. 20 missions Hollywood never knew about. 20 missions he never spoke about. 20 missions that changed him forever. Hollywood saw a movie star, saw a charming actor, saw James Stewart who made audiences laugh and cry. Never saw a combat veteran. Never saw a man who watched friends die. Never saw a warrior who faced hell and survived. This is episode 3. The missions, the blood, the terror, the cost. What war really did to Jimmy Stewart. What he never told anyone. What shaped everything that came after. January through March 1944. Jimmy flew his first combat missions. Each one was test, each one was trial, each one was survival. Brunswick, Frankfurt, Berlin, Stuttgart, industrial targets, railroad yards, aircraft factories, strategic bombing designed to cripple Nazi war machine, destroy production, break supply lines, win war from air, sound strategic, looked clean on maps, was hell in reality, pure, chaotic, violent hell. Typical mission started before dawn. Wake up 0300, dress in heated flight suits, bulky, uncomfortable, necessary. High altitude was freezing, minus 40 degrees. Men froze to death in bombers, literally froze. So heated suits, so layers, so preparation for cold that would penetrate everything. Then oxygen masks, checked, double-checked. High altitude flying meant thin air, not enough oxygen. Hypoxia killed, made men confused, made them stupid, made them dead. So oxygen, so masks, so constant checking, because forgetting meant dying. Briefing came next. Intelligence officers showed target, showed route, showed expected defenses, expected flak, expected fighters, expected losses, spoke clinically, statistically, mathematically. 10% losses expected meant 10 planes would not return, 100 men would die, but just 10%. Acceptable losses, strategic necessity. Officers spoke those words, crews heard death sentences. Some planes, some men would not return. Question was who? Answer was luck. Nothing but luck. Random. Arbitrary. Terrifying. Crews walked to planes, climbed aboard, 10 men per B-24, pilot, co-pilot, navigator, bombardier, engineer, radio operator, 4 gunners, all crammed into metal tube, all dependent on each other, all facing same danger. Jimmy took co-pilot seat, checked instruments, ran checklists, started engines, 4 massive radial engines roaring, props spinning, plane vibrating, everything mechanical, everything breakable, everything fallible. 1 engine failure could kill. All engines failing definitely killed. Trust the machines, trust the mechanics, trust luck. That was all anyone had. Formation takeoff was coordinated chaos. Hundreds of bombers, taking off minutes apart, forming up over England, finding their group, finding their position, flying tight formation, wingtip to wingtip. Dangerous flying, but necessary. Tight formation meant concentrated firepower, meant protection, meant survival. Loose formation meant death. Fighters picked off stragglers, killed isolated planes. Formation was life. Formation was everything. So planes flew impossibly close. Pilots fought turbulence, fought fatigue, fought terror, stayed in position, because leaving formation meant dying alone. Channel crossing was tense. English coast disappeared. French coast appeared. Enemy territory. Now everything was hostile. Everything was danger. Ground below held Germans. Sky around held fighters. Altitude above held only cold and void. Formation climbed 10,000 feet, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000. Oxygen critical now. Masks essential. Men checked each other, watched for signs, confusion, drowsiness, hypoxia, because 1 man passing out endangered everyone. So constant vigilance, so mutual dependence, so collective survival or collective death. Then the flak started, and everything became hell. German anti-aircraft guns were precise, were deadly. were everywhere. 88 millimeter, 128 millimeter, massive guns, firing shells miles into sky, shells with proximity fuses, exploding near aircraft, sending shrapnel everywhere, tearing through aluminum, through flesh, through everything. Formation approached target, flak intensified, sky filled with black puffs. Each puff was explosion. Each explosion sent metal fragments flying at supersonic speed. Invisible death, unavoidable death, random death. Planes got hit. Constantly, repeatedly. Jimmy watched. B-24 to his right took direct hit. Wing exploded. Plane spiraled down, spinning, burning. 10 men inside, maybe some escaped. Probably not. Probably died in impact or burned or froze, falling through thin air. Gone in seconds, alive then dead, talking then silent, flying then falling. Jimmy watched. Could do nothing. Had to maintain position. Had to keep flying. Had to complete mission. That was duty. That was job. That was war. Watch friends die. Keep flying. Keep bombing. Keep surviving, if possible. Bomb run was worst part. 10 minutes of straight level flight. No evasive action, no escape. Just flying steady while flak tried to kill you. Bombardier-controlled plane now. Needed stability for accuracy, for precision, for hitting target. So pilots surrendered control, flew whatever Bombardier demanded, straight, level, predictable, while every German gun aimed at formation, while flak filled sky, while men died, while luck ran out. 10 minutes, 600 seconds. Each one might be last. Each one might bring hit that killed. Men prayed, men sweated, men endured, because mission required it, because target mattered, because winning war demanded sacrifice. Bombs away, weight dropped, plane lifted, formation turned, heading home. But mission was not over. Return flight meant more flak, more fighters, more danger, more dying. German fighters appeared, Messerschmitts, Focke-Wulfs, fast, maneuverable, deadly. They attacked formation, head-on passes, guns blazing, 20-millimeter cannons, 30-millimeter cannons, tearing through bombers. Gunners returned fire, 50-caliber machine guns, all 10 men firing, tracers filling sky, chaos, violence, death. Fighters pressed attacks. Some got hit, fell burning, some got through. Killed bombers, killed crews, killed Americans, random, arbitrary, terrifying. Jimmy's plane took hits, shrapnel through fuselage, through wing, through engine, engine smoking, losing power. Formation kept flying. Wounded planes struggled, fell behind, became targets. Fighters swarmed them, finished them, killed stragglers. Jimmy's plane maintained position, barely, one engine out, another damaged, 2 engines remaining, enough to stay with formation, enough to survive. This time, this mission. Pure luck. Nothing more, nothing less. Luck saved him. Luck killed others. No reason, no justice, no fairness, just chance, just random chance. That was combat. That was reality. That was truth. Nobody at home understood. Mission after mission, week after week, month after month, Jimmy kept flying, kept surviving, but survival had cost. March 1944, Berlin mission, deepest penetration into Germany, capital city, maximum defenses, maximum danger, maximum losses expected. Crews briefed, saw target, understood risk. Some men were terrified, some men were resigned, some men were numb. Too many missions, too much death, too much fear. Became routine, became normal, became existence. Wake up, fly mission, maybe die, maybe survive. Repeat, day after day, week after week, until tour completed or until luck ran out, whichever came first. Berlin flak was intense, heaviest Jimmy had seen. Sky was black, solid black. Wall of explosions, impossible to fly through, impossible to survive. But formation flew anyway, flew into certain death. Because orders said so, because mission required, because winning war demanded it. Men died, many men, many planes. Formation kept flying, kept bombing, kept sacrificing. That was duty, that was service, that was war in its purest form. Do impossible thing. Pay ultimate price, win anyway, or die trying. Jimmy's plane was hit multiple times. Flak tore through fuselage, killed tail gunner instantly. Young man from Ohio, 20 years old, dead before he knew what hit him. Body slumped in turret. Blood everywhere. Other crew members saw. Could do nothing. Had to keep fighting, had to keep flying, had to keep surviving. Tail gunner was dead. Rest of crew was alive. Had to stay alive, had to get home, had to complete mission. So they focused, so they endured, so they survived. Barely. Plane limping, engines damaged, hydraulics failing, but flying, still flying. Heading toward England, heading toward safety, heading toward survival. If they could make it. Big if. Channel crossing was desperate. Plane losing altitude, losing speed, losing everything. Crew threw out everything not essential. Guns, ammunition, equipment, anything to lighten load, anything to stay airborne, anything to reach England. Jimmy fought controls. Plane barely responded, but responding enough. Enough to glide, enough to limp, enough to maybe survive. English coast appeared. Beautiful. Salvation. Life. Emergency landing. Plane crashed onto runway, hard, damaging but controlled. Crew evacuated, everyone alive, except tail gunner, except boy from Ohio, except one who never had chance. Jimmy climbed out, legs shaking, alive, grateful, haunted. Image of dead gunner burned into memory, would never fade, never go away, never stop haunting. That was cost. That was price. That was what survival meant, living while others died, carrying their ghosts forever. More missions came. Each one brought more death, more destruction, more trauma. Jimmy watched crews get shot down, watched friends die, watched young men who laughed at breakfast die by lunch, became routine, became normal, became unbearable, but had to be borne, had to be endured, had to be survived, because duty required, because service demanded, because war did not care about feelings. War cared about winning, about destroying enemy, about whatever it took. Men were expendable, crews were replaceable. Only mission mattered, only objective, only victory. Everything else was secondary. Everything else was acceptable loss. That was reality. That was truth. That was what Jimmy learned, what he carried, what he would never forget. By June 1944, Jimmy had flown dozen missions, but hardest ones were still coming. Promotion came. Jimmy advanced to major, then lieutenant colonel, then operations officer for entire group, then squadron commander, led hundreds of men, planned their missions, sent them into danger. Watch some return, watch some not. Command brought different burden, different responsibility, different guilt. When Jimmy flew as co-pilot, one death was tragedy. When Jimmy commanded squadron, multiple deaths were statistics, were acceptable losses, were necessary sacrifice, but were men, were friends, were boys who trusted him, who followed his orders, who died because of his decisions. That weight, that burden, that responsibility was crushing. D-Day. June 6, 1944. Largest military operation in history, invasion of France. Jimmy's group supported invasion, flew multiple missions, bombed coastal defenses, bombed transportation, bombed anything that could hurt troops landing on beaches. Critical missions, essential missions, dangerous missions. Losses were high, very high, but acceptable, because D-Day success mattered more than bomber crew survival. Strategic calculus, military necessity, cold mathematics. Jimmy understood logic, hated reality, sent men anyway, had to. That was command, that was duty, that was burden of leadership, making decisions that killed people you knew, people you liked, people who trusted you, and living with it forever. Post-D-Day missions continued, supporting ground forces, bombing ahead of advance, destroying German positions, enabling Allied progress. Every mission mattered. Every mission saved soldiers. Every mission cost airmen. Trade was acceptable. Mathematically, strategically, morally even, but emotionally, Personally, individually, cost was devastating. Jimmy attended memorial services, wrote letters to families, told them their sons died heroes, died serving country, died with honor. All true, all inadequate, all insufficient. Because dead was dead, hero or not. Honor did not resurrect. Service did not comfort. Dead boys stayed dead. Grieving families stayed grieving. Nothing Jimmy wrote helped. Nothing anyone said mattered. Death was final, permanent, irreversible. That was truth. That was reality. That was what command meant. Living with that truth. Every day. Every mission. Every loss. August 1944. Jimmy flew 20th mission. Last one. Tour complete. Had survived. Against odds. Against probability. Against luck that killed so many others. 20 missions. 20 times into Nazi fire. 20 times facing death. 20 times surviving. Statistical miracle. Divine intervention. Pure chance. Whatever explanation preferred. Result was same. Jimmy was alive. Many were not. Some of his crews, some of his friends, some of men he commanded, dead, gone, memories, ghosts, permanent residents of Jimmy's mind, forever haunting, forever remembered, forever mourned. But 20 missions was not end, was just number, just requirement. Jimmy could have gone home, could have rotated out, could have left combat. Most men did. Completed tour, went home, served honorably. No shame in it, no dishonor, expected, normal, smart. But Jimmy stayed, chose to stay, chose to keep serving, chose to keep commanding, because men were still dying, boys were still flying, war was still being fought. How could he leave while they stayed? How could he quit while they fought? How could he survive in safety while they faced danger? Could not, would not, did not, so he stayed. Kept commanding, kept planning, kept sending men into danger, kept carrying guilt, kept bearing weight, because that was duty, that was honor, that was who Jimmy Stewart was beneath everything Hollywood and everything else, was man who served, was man who led, was man who sacrificed, until job was done, until war was won, until duty was fulfilled completely. But staying meant seeing things, enduring things, experiencing things that would change him forever, irreversibly, completely. Months passed, missions continued, death accumulated. Jimmy watched squadron lose plane after plane, crew after crew, boy after boy. Each loss hit hard, each death mattered, each ghost joined collection. Some nights Jimmy could not sleep. Lay in bed seeing faces, hearing voices, remembering men who were gone, young men, brave men, men who trusted him, followed him, died under his command. Weight was enormous, burden was crushing, guilt was permanent, survivor guilt, commander guilt, leader guilt. Why did he survive when they died? What made him special? What made him worthy? Nothing. Nothing made him worthy, just luck. Random, arbitrary, unfair. He lived. They died. No reason, no justice, no fairness. That realization, that truth, that reality broke something inside him, something that would never heal, never repair, never return to what it was before. He started drinking, not heavily, not publicly, but regularly, at night, alone, to sleep, to forget, to numb pain that would not stop. War aged him. Visibly, physically, emotionally. Eyes became harder, face became lined, youth disappeared, replaced by something else, something darker, something war created. He was 36, looked 50, felt 70. War did that, combat did that, command did that, death did that, watching friends die repeatedly did that, sending men to probable death did that, surviving when you should have died did that. All of it accumulated, all of it compounded, all of it changed Jimmy Stewart from movie star who played heroes into actual veteran who knew cost of heroism. Real cost, complete cost, permanent cost. September 1944, awards ceremony. Jimmy received Distinguished Flying Cross, Air Medal with 3 oak leaf clusters, French Croix de Guerre, medals recognizing valor. recognizing service, recognizing sacrifice. Jimmy accepted them, felt nothing. Medals were metal, ribbons were cloth, men were dead, boys were gone. How did metal ribbons compensate? How did ceremonies resurrect? How did recognition matter when people you knew were dead? It did not. Medals meant nothing, not really, not compared to survival, not compared to loss, not compared to cost. Jimmy wore them because required, because expected, because men who died deserved recognition even if medal ribbons were inadequate. Wearing medals honored them, remembered them, acknowledged them. That mattered, even if medals themselves did not. November 1944. Jimmy was promoted to full colonel, group commander now, entire bombardment group, thousands of men, dozens of planes, multiple missions daily, maximum responsibility, maximum burden, maximum weight. He planned every mission, briefed every crew, sent every man into danger. Some returned, some did not. Each loss was on him. Each death was his responsibility. Not logically, not really, but emotionally, personally, he commanded, he decided, he sent them, and some died. That connection, that chain, that guilt was inescapable, was permanent, was cross he would carry rest of his life. Every commander carried it. Every leader bore it. Every man who sent others to die lived with it, forever. That was cost of command. That was price of leadership. That was burden Jimmy accepted when he chose to serve, when he chose to lead, when he chose to stay. Now he paid, day after day, loss after loss, death after death, and would keep paying, forever. Long after war ended, long after missions stopped, long after anyone remembered, Jimmy would remember, Jimmy would carry, Jimmy would pay. That was permanent, that was justice, that was cost. War in Europe ended May 1945. Germany surrendered, fighting stopped, men celebrated. Jimmy felt relief and emptiness. VE Day, victory in Europe. 8th Air Force stopped flying combat missions, celebrated, drank, rejoiced. They had won, survived, done their duty, going home, back to America, back to families, back to normal lives. Everyone was happy, everyone was relieved, everyone except those who were not there, those who died, those who never got to celebrate, those who paid ultimate price for victory everyone else enjoyed. Jimmy thought about them, thought about tail gunner from Ohio, thought about pilot from Texas, thought about bombardier from California, thought about all of them, all the ghosts, all the dead, all the boys who never came home. They won the war too, they contributed too, they mattered too. More than survivors maybe, because they gave everything, gave lives, gave futures, gave everything anyone could give, and got nothing in return except memory, except honor, except respect of those who survived. Jimmy would give them that, would remember them, would honor them, would carry them forever. That was duty, that was obligation, that was what surviving meant, bearing witness, remembering, never forgetting.